Can I save you from building a content calendar that only creates more content? Because there's a very specific kind of founder spiral where the business needs clear demand, clear positioning, and a better next step. And the founder decides the answer is, I should definitely just post more, which sounds so responsible of you. It also might be how you end up with a 97 Canva graphic file, a new ring light, a new microphone, and guess what? That content folder that says final, 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 use this, and still no actual inquiries. A founder I worked with earlier this year had been posting consistently for the last year, 14 months, 3 times a week, sometimes four. Reels, carousel, personal stories, educational posts, behind the scenes, common questions, process breakdowns, and the occasional, I was scared to post this caption, which I respect, but also the algorithm has seen us all cry now. We can move on with discernment. She had done the work, and by surface metrics, the content looked like it was working. People commented, they said, so true, they need this. They dropped heart emojis and high fives, they tagged friends, they shared. And if you only looked at the comment section, you could make a very cute little case that the content was converting. It was connecting, it was bringing in her customer. But here is where my brain gets annoying because I do not only care what people say, I care what they do next. Welcome to the Aligned Edit. I'm Veronica Dietz, founder of Taiki Digital Agency, business advisor, and diagnostic strategist. I work with founders, consultants, creatives, therapists, and service-based business owners who are usually not short on effort. They are usually buried in effort. My work is helping them see what keeps repeating, what is misaligned, what the business is actually asking them to fix, because agreement is not the same thing as movement. This is where we follow the clues, name the pattern, and diagnose what's actually happening beneath the surface. When this founder came to me, her opening line was, I think I just need to post more consistently. And I immediately thought, do you? Not because consistency does not matter, it really does, but consistency is not a magic formula to get leads and clients. It will not turn a vague message into a clear one. It will not turn a browser into a buyer. It will not turn so true into where do I pay, unless the content is actually connected to a buying decision. She had already blocked out the next quarter to batch more content. A new ring light was on the way. She had ordered a new microphone. Hooks were being scripted the night before instead of the morning of. She was not asking if the strategy was working. She was preparing to do more of it. That is the part I want to pause, because founders will increase output before they question the output. They will say, maybe I just need to post daily. And I'm thinking, or maybe we need to ask why the people already watching are not asking to work with you. So I asked what has changed across the 14 months. She listed it out. The format changed, the frequency changed, the topics changed, the captions got longer, then shorter, then longer again. She tried different posting times. She added stories between feed posts. She hired someone 3 months to help with the calendar. She even did a 30-day challenge where she posted every day just to see if volume would break something loose. And it did move something. Her follower account went up. Comments stayed steady. People kept agreeing. That's all vanity metrics. But the inquiry count? Flat. That is the clue. Comments were working. The inbox was not. People were saying, so true. Almost nobody was saying, how do I hire you? How do I work with you? Take my money. And that gap matters, because if more content were truly the lever, more content should have produced more than the thing the business actually needed. So not just more reactions, and not just more people emotionally nodding from their couch or their car. It's not just more strangers using your post as a free therapy checkpoint before scrolling to a sourdough recipe. inquiries, conversations, buying signals, something that suggests the content is creating movement, not just resonance. And this is where a lot of founders get tricked, and especially when it comes to social media, because engagement feels like proof. It feels good. Someone comments, "This hits," and your nervous system goes, "We're doing it." But the business is over the corner asking, "Doing what exactly?" Because a comment is not a client. You don't get paid off the comment. A heart emoji is not a sales conversion. A save is not a strategy. And yes, I know that sounds rude to every content dashboard ever created, but somebody had to say it. And I know a lot of you agree with me. The vanity metrics are not paying your bills. So by the time we talked, this pattern had costed her 14 months of content creation, real time, real energy, a paid content strategist for 3 months, a backlog of unused footage, captions sitting in a folder, a steady audience that liked what she said but had not been clearly shown why they should become a client. That is not nothing. That is not just keep going. That is a business growing attention without growing demand. And those are not the same thing. Visibility by itself does not fix a business. Visibility amplifies what is already there. If the message is clear, visibility helps more of the right people find it. If the offer is clear, visibility helps more of the right people understand what to do next. If the positioning is sharp, visibility gives people a reason to connect the problem they are having to the work you actually sell. But if the message is fuzzy, more visibility just means more people see the fuzziness faster. And sometimes they like it. And that's a really annoying part because fuzzy content can still be relatable. It can still get comments. It can still make people feel seen. But being seen is not the same thing as being led. And if your business sells transformation, strategy, support, healing, consulting, advising, creative work, or anything that requires a trust and a vulnerability between two people, those people need more than a post that makes them say, "Wow, that's so me." They need to understand this is for me. This is the problem. This is what changes. This is what the next step is. That was the gap. Her content was making people feel understood. It was not making people feel concrete, not making her work present as the solution, not making them come in to learn how to connect with her. Now, I want to be fair. Sometimes more content really is the answer. I worked with another founder whose issue was genuinely reach. Her message was sharp. Her offer was clear. When people found her, they inquired quickly. The problem was that almost nobody was finding her. She would disappear for 3 weeks and come back with one thoughtful post, disappear again for like 6 months, and then wonder why her business felt quiet. In that case, yeah, consistency is going to help you, girl. But once she committed to a steady cadence for a couple months, her inquiries increased because the thing being amplified was already working. That's the difference. If the message is already converting, more visibility can move the number. If the message is not converting, more visibility just gives the same problem a bigger audience. Same action, different diagnosis. That this is why I do not worship consistency by itself, okay? Consistency is only useful when it is attached to something that knows where it is going. Otherwise, you are just reliably unclear. So when a founder tells me I need to post more, I want to know what evidence supports that. If there is a relationship between more content and more inquiries, when you posted more, did buying conversations increase? When engagement went up, Did consultant calls go up? When follower count grew, did your revenue grow? Even loosely, even slightly, because if the answer is no, after 14 months, that's telling us something. I mean, that was telling us 30 days, 90 days. It was telling us early on. Not that the content is bad, not that the audience is wrong, not that the founder should light the content calendar on fire and go live in a forest. It tells us the volume probably is not the first lever. So when I ask you, what has not changed? The engagement pattern has not changed. The inquiry pattern has not changed. The content has never produced many sales conversations from even the beginning. That is very important. This was not a channel that used to convert and then stopped. This was a channel that had always been good at agreement and weak at movement. And that is a different read. Because if something used to work and stopped, we looked at what changed. If something never really worked, we look at what was assumed from the beginning. And that assumption here was the engagement meant interest in working together, but it does not. Someone can love your content and never consider hiring you. I mean, you can probably think of someone right now that you follow, that you love their content. You think they're a great personality and you can't wait to see what they post next, but you would never hire them. So someone can agree with every word you say and still have no idea what you actually do. Someone can tag 3 friends under your post and still not be a buyer, especially if the content never names the offer clearly, especially if it never shows who the work is for, and especially if they never connects the insights to the decision you want them to make. This is where I see a lot of service providers get stuck. Their content proves they are thoughtful. It proves they understand the problem. It proves they can articulate the emotional experience, but it never proves the work. It never shows the method. It never makes the offer feel real. It never creates a reason to move from I relate to this to I need this person in my business. And that is the line. Browsers can look identical to buyers, especially in the comment section. That is why the comment section cannot be the only place you diagnose from. You have to follow the behavior. Who is engaging? Who is inquiring? Who is buying? Where does the line break? Because somewhere in the sequence, the business is telling the truth. For her, the line was breaking between engagement and inquiry. People were responding to the content. They were not moving towards the offer. So we had to ask better questions. Was the offer named clearly? Was there an actual call to action? Did the content ever show what working together looked like? Was she speaking to people who had a problem they wanted to solve or people who simply enjoyed the topic? Was she attracting the version of her audience that likes to reflect, but not the version ready to make a decision? Those are different people. And I know we all want to believe so true is a future client. That commenter that's always giving you a heart and be like, I love your work. But sometimes that commenter, that potential user online, means exactly what they're saying. So true. I love your work. They agree. That is all. And I do not know whether her real gap was the offer never being named clearly or the audience being more browser than buyer or the content ending before it created a next step. I did not know that on the call either. And I was not going to guess. I'm not going to make that assumption because guessing would have just replaced one untested assumption with another. She had already spent 14 months inside one. She did not need me to hand her a fresh one with better branding and confidence. What I did know was this. After 14 months of steady output with a flat inquiry count underneath all of it, I would stop measuring success by the comment section for a while. And not because the content was definitely wrong, rather because the evidence was not pointing to volume as the answer anymore. And continuing to post more without diagnosing the gap was starting to cost her. It was costing her time, it was costing her clarity, it was costing her sanity, it was costing her the ability to know what the audience actually understood about her work. And maybe most importantly, it was training her to confuse being validated with being hired. And that's honestly really dangerous because validation can keep you busy for a long time. It can make you feel visible while the business is staying underfed. We did not land on the fix that day. We did not need to because what changed was where she agreed to look, not the next batch of posts, the gap. The last 20 comments that said so true. Did any of those people ever ask a question, click a link, reply to a story, join a list, book a call? Did the content ever invite them into anything specific, or did it just end after making a point? That is a quieter thing to check than building another calendar. It is also more useful because before you create more content, you need to know what the current content is doing, not what it feels like it's doing, what it is actually doing, not your objective and goal when creating this content. What is happening with the content? If you have been showing up consistently and the number that actually matters has not moved, do not automatically assume you need more consistency. Ask yourself what your consistency is actually reinforcing. Is it reinforcing clarity? Is it reinforcing demand? Is it reinforcing the offer? Or is it reinforcing a pattern where people agree with you and then do nothing? That's the read. The thing is, she spent $500 on one direction session with me. Her offer she was selling was a 6-month one-on-one high touch coaching experience for $9,000. So a $500 investment with me changed the next 6 months for her tremendously. She ended up having a waiting list for the first time ever. And she had spent so much time and energy and money building that content consistency for the last 14 months. And nothing changed. Nothing happened. No one took advantage of her offer. And after 1 hour with me in a direction session, and after looking over the decision map that I gave her for 90 days and putting that into action, her ROI is I should be charging more. I mean, you can't even imagine. She takes 6 clients at the same time. It's a $9,000 offer, 9 times 6. Come on, with a $500 investment, she did the damn thing. And it's been almost a year now since we had our direction session. And girl, she is thriving. I'm so proud of her. So like I said, that's the read. If the content is getting responses but not creating movement, I'm not starting with post more. I'm asking what the response is actually telling us because agreement is not a buying intent. I'm sorry. I've had plenty of people be in agreement with me and even tell me, oh, I can't wait to invest with you. And then they don't because it's buying intent is actually buying. Visibility is only useful when the thing people are seeing is connected to the thing you want them to do next. So before you build another content calendar, look at the gap. Who is engaging? Who is inquiring? Who is buying? Where is the line breaking? That is usually where the business starts telling the truth. And if you want help finding that gap in your own business, that is what a direction session is for. We look at what's happening, what keeps repeating, and where the structure is asking you to keep working harder around something that needs to be named. You can book a direction session through the link in the show notes. And if you love to engage with me, I'm on Threads almost every day at the Veronica Deeds. Until tomorrow, talk soon.